This is The Way I Get It, Episode 4. Here I want to discuss the controversial origin of my nation, which is the beautiful motherfucking Republic of Bulgaria. Let me start off with saying that, as regards to this matter, I am so fucking tired of the retarded level of racism that I'm witnessing within the Balkans. Don't get me wrong, I imagine every single nation across the globe consists of about 80% racist nutjobs and 20% that have at least a somewhat realistic perspective on the matter of their origin. But just across this relatively small area of the Balkan Peninsula, there is this hot brewing pot of unbelievably destructive discrimination, which reaches such ridiculous levels of stupidity that it baffles me beyond words. Every single country around here holds itself to such high esteem that someone would say they came from the fucking center of the universe to show us dummies how to act civilized. Let's point out the most obvious example from my perspective: Macedonia. The levels of retardedness these people can reach are amazing. Like claiming that they own everything around here because it came from them, because Alexander the Great laid the foundations of everything around here, and now the same thing comes to mind in regards to people from Greece, claiming that they created everything around here because of Homer and Plato and Pericles and whoever the fuck lived around here 2.5 millennia ago. And of course, next in line is my own country, Bulgaria, claiming that the Macedonians are all just Bulgarians and shitting all over the Greeks, and then all of those insulting each other. I've literally heard people say like, Albanians are all thieves, Greeks are all gypsies, Bulgarians were just all Slavic slaves, and all kinds of other stuff that is completely abominable. But let's leave this aside for the time being, because that's the usual case of external racism, and this has been around since forever. With Bulgaria, there's this totally weird case of self-racism, internal racism, this kind of severely butthurt state of self-loathing that eventually develops into a state of sick patriotism, which breeds ideologies, stuff like secret theories about Bulgarians having been this super powerful and unique race in the past, and having been crushed and oppressed to extinction by other envious nations, or about these theories how all the scientifically proven origins of Bulgarians, that is the first Bulgars having been nomadic Asian tribes, all of this they claim was stuff made up during the communist regime to hammer down our pride and history. I mean, hear this out. There was this stupid bitch on Facebook instantly running me down about my being stupid, saying how we Bulgarians are, and I quote, Thracians from before the Great Flood. Bitch, the Great Flood? Are you fucking kidding me? At this point I was waiting for her to tell me that Moses was Bulgarian or something. But most of all, I'd like to pose this question to all the anti-Asian tribe idiots out there. What is so wrong about originating from Asians that you want to cover it up as communist propaganda? For one thing, no one can ever be sure what the absolute truth about things is. But on the other hand, if this is true, and I think it is, then so what? Why are you so fucking offended by it? I'll tell you why. It's not because you know the true history, it's not because you've been undeservedly discriminated, it's because you're a stupid fucking sickeningly patriotic racist. I for one think that our history is so cool and beautiful and epic, and our achievements so great considering all the other nations that the Eastern Roman Empire managed to assimilate into it completely. The Bulgarian kingdom managed to settle right beside the Roman Empire, and at the same time it held its own and remained influential in a Roman-like fashion, yet uniquely substantial in its Bulgarian qualities, instead of just being another province. The entwined history of the Byzantine Empire and Bulgaria is so fascinating to me that it makes me shiver as I speak even now. It was not the mainstream war that you would witness between some civilized force and a bunch of barbarians. Instead, it gradually became a highly intellectual war in which the weapons used were, to a great extent, atomic bombs of ideology and sneaky tentacles of propaganda, with the Byzantines trying to, quote, welcome the Bulgarians into the great family of the Basileus, where the Basileus is the father of all, father essentially meaning motherfucking master. And then the Romans trying to Christianize Bulgaria and whatnot. Just a war of sheer brains and manipulation. And I love reading books about the pinpoint of this intellectual war during the golden age of Simeon I. He was, and I'd say still remains, the most ingenious and influential ruler Bulgaria's ever had. Besides all the well-known sieges of Constantinople that he organized, he managed to wed his daughter to the boy emperor of Byzantium at the time, which meant that although for a very brief period and very formally, he did become the regent of the Eastern Roman Empire. And in my very own nerdy way of twisting history for the sake of epicness, I like to think of Simeon I as something of a retardedly logical follower of Caesar and Augustus and all the other great figures that stirred European civilization. Tell me, my fellow Bulgarians, isn't that absolutely amazing? Isn't our history proud enough that you have to be so ashamed of some kind of Hun roots or something? And by the way, let me say something to all the people of the Balkans, all you smartasses that came from the Bulls of Alexander, whoever the fuck these people were that were here in ancient and medieval times, they are all gone, because since then we've all been mixing up in a happy orgy of Balkan sheep. Modern-day Macedonians have no common biology with the ancients. Modern-day Greeks have nothing in common with those sheet-wearing geniuses of Athens. And modern-day Bulgarians have nothing left of the genes of Huns or Slavs or Byzantines and whatever. Whoever you claim you are, well, you are not. But instead of just being okay with it and being united and proud of being together, you idiots have to swim in your own cesspool of ancient racism. Just be proud of your history and be okay with all people. Let's start thinking and working together for once. That was it for The Way I Get It, episode 4. For Holy Retardation, this is Chris.